Welcome to Equal Entertainment. I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist. The holiday season is officially in full swing with Cher, Barry Manilow, and others helping to light the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. Cher and Darlene Love performed Christmas Baby Please Come Home. Barry Manilow was joined by the Young People's Chorus of New York City, and Liz Gillies and Seth MacFarlane sang together on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Of course, the Radio City Rockettes were on hand as well. The annual tree lighting ceremony goes all the way back to 1933. Eddie Murphy is starring in his first Christmas movie, Candy Cane Lane. Murphy stars alongside Tracee Ellis Ross, Chris Redd, and Nick Offerman in the Prime Studios movie. Murphy's character is on a quest to win his local Christmas home decorating competition and strikes a deal with a playful elf. The screenplay is inspired by writer Kelly Younger's own experiences on Candy Cane Lane in El Segundo, California.
Wrote something unique, and I hadn't done anything a Christmas movie, so this is a great, unique thing to do, and it came out good. I think, like with Christmas movies, you want to be able to watch them over and over again, so every Christmas. So I think they can watch this.
Like the rest of the world, I've been a fan of Eddie's forever. He's so funny and so talented. But the thing that I got to experience that was really special is he's also just a wonderfully generous actor and a really sweet person. And we would sit in between takes in front of the heaters, just telling stories and going back and forth. And I felt like I had to bring my best storytelling forward. But we had a ball.
I think the action. I think it's surprising how action-packed it is. And there's a little bit of horror, but just enough for kids to be able to still watch it. It's manageable. But I think that's fun. We don't really see that usually in Christmas movies, so I think there's a little something for everybody in this one.
I'm so excited that this is my first project back, and it's with people that I'm just obsessed with. I mean, Eddie Murphy, Tracee Ellis Ross, Nick Offerman, Chris Redd, Jillian Bell, all these amazing people. I'm just so honored, and to work with director Reggie Hudlin is just amazing.
I'm so excited. I mean, from the moment I heard about this and read the script, and enough of my life has gone by that it never seemed like I would get to do a film with Eddie Murphy and Tracy and the rest of these brilliant actors. And so everything about it was very Christmassy. Going to work, doing this brilliant family comedy full of action, and I've been over the moon. So I can't wait for people to see it because it's an incredible new twist on the Christmas movie.
Candy Cane Lane also features a star-studded soundtrack from music producer Raphael Saadiq, Chloe Bailey, and Marcus Miller. Disney CEO Bob Iger is promising to turn around the Marvel Studios franchise, which has been struggling at the box office lately. Iger says the focus should be on making a few good films rather than too many that aren't a high quality. Marvel is currently working on sequels, but Iger says Disney will only greenlight stories worth telling. Iger blames Marvel's issues on a lack of executive supervision during the COVID-19 pandemic. Bayard Rustin was the organizer behind the 1963 March on Washington, but as a black gay man in the 60s, he faced obstacles. He's played by Coleman Domingo in the new Netflix film. Rustin director George C. Wolfe says the movie is about how many groups came together for a common goal.
Well, first off, congratulations on Rustin. It's such a moving film, and thank you. And I want to begin by asking you, would you share a little bit about your earliest kind of memories of Bayard Rustin in your consciousness?
Well, in college, I remember reading his name as in a paragraph of other people's names who were connected with the march, but nothing very specifically about what he did. And then I think about 8 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, I get confused about times and dates. I got involved in helping to create a museum in Atlanta called the Center for Civil and Human Rights. And that's when I was doing all my research about Atlanta and the civil rights movement there and throughout the South, I really, really became connected to Bayard and his story. And then I was just in awe and thrilled and amazed to find out about this remarkable human being. And then when Bruce Cohen called me up and was talking about a film about Bayard Rustin, I was so eager and thrilled. And then when it wound up at Netflix at Higher Ground, the Obama's company, and meeting Tonya Davis, all of a sudden it was like I found myself living in a world that I wanted to live in, but I didn't know when I was going to live there.
Well, that's incredible. Congratulations. And I really want to touch on the idea of, really these intersections of Bayard's identity as a Black and gay man. And the film really, I mean, that's very much a lot of what the film is about, is how he was in some ways left out of the movement, and some craven politicians used his gay identity against him as a weapon. And would you talk about the importance of really leaning into the fact that not everyone was able to be at the center of certain movements? I mean, CCH Pounder's character talks about how women weren't there, and I think that's really kind of bold to really lean into that.
Well, but it's also true. I mean,
Yeah.
it may be bold, but it's true.
Right.
And it's complicated, but it's also, I mean, everybody was after the same goal. I think that's very, very important, and it has much to do with the ideology of their various organizations. Roy Wilkins was part of the NAACP, who had done phenomenal work, with the court cases, with the Supreme Court, about ending segregation. Adam Clayton Powell was a phenomenal congressman who did his part. And then Bayard was involved in civil disobedience, and that was counter to the court cases, and that was counter to Congress. And so everybody was after the same goal, which is making America be more of what America should be. Everybody was committed to that cause. The Ella Bakers, the Dr. Anna Arnold Hedgeman, the Diane Nashes, all these people were all caught up in this phenomenon of making America be more like America, and as a result of that, they rose to the occasions in an astonishing way, and at the same time, they were very hyper aware of image and perception. And so, because Bayard had been in his youth a member of the Young Communist League and also was gay, they were very concerned that the fact of those realities would be used as a weapon against him, and in turn the civil rights movement. So whether or not they were intrinsically rabid homophobes, I can't speak to. I think it was much more complicated than that, because things are very complicated. But I think it was very much so, a thought process about putting forth the perfect image so that nobody uses the truth of who you are against you and against the cause that you believe. There's a line in the film called "The Suffocating Chains of Negro Respectability," which Bayard used, and it's very much so. That's the thought process of the day, and so everybody, even those people who had issues with him, knew that he was a brilliant organizer, knew that he was a brilliant thinker, and knew how ferociously committed he was. It was that dichotomy between what's going to play, in the media, and him being unapologetically who he was, freed him to be as effective as he was, but it didn't come free.
Right. Well, thank you so much for that really thoughtful, beautiful answer. I have to wrap, but congratulations on the film. I really was moved by it.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you liked it.
You can watch Domingo shine as Bayard Rustin now on Netflix. EGOT winner Rita Moreno says the supermarket helped pull her out of a spell of loneliness. The nearly 92-year-old star of the original West Side Story says her loneliness and sadness began after she moved to a new condo. She tells People magazine that she realized she didn't know how to make friends, so she challenged herself to meet new people. And she made a new friend at the supermarket, and they went out to lunch. And then she made more friends. Moreno is calling her new friends marvelous. You can watch the Advocate channel live by downloading our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. For the Advocate channel, I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist, and thank you for watching.